What is going on, guys? Dave from Wake Up It's Football alongside of Ezra from Idiot Sports Talk, bringing you guys a long lost episode of the Red Zone Blitz. Man, where has this been the last couple of weeks? We've been, ironing out some technical issues and figuring out some of these streaming things, and we got the chat box in the right side, on the right-hand side of the video for you guys. So that's where we're going to be using. Comments are still disabled, but hit us up in the chat box. We got me. We got Ezra. Ezra, we got a lot of football to talk about, man. How's it going?
Can't complain, man. I'm feeling good, even though it's been a rough couple of weeks for the Red Zone Blitz because of the issues of, all the changes with the live streaming and beta and YouTube gaming has affected us. And, the old YouTube Red Zone Blitz way is when you guys leave messages, it will turn into a comment. And now that was disabled, and now we have this chat going on, which kind of I like because it's smoother, but at the same time, it doesn't save as comments. So if new people come to the channel, don't believe we're making up these these comments and this dialogue that we have with our fantastic supporters is just not automatically saved in like prior videos. So don't think we're talking to ourselves and making up characters here, okay? Me and David actually have some awesome supporters or here, Super Hippo, super early as always. We got HBK. We got Turned Down for Watt, which I like that name. That's a cool NFL YouTube name right there. So welcome, guys. And, I'm feeling good. My Jets beat the Giants this past week, even though I don't hate the Giants. That's a misperception here, I believe. Even though there's a lot of Jet fans that get on the Giants, I guess because I guess I'm also jealous of their success, but I don't take it out on the Giants or their organization. I respect them, and it just feels good to finally get a win in an important part of the season. Very important. 7-5 now.
Well, we all know what happened last week with the Packers and the Lions. We'll dive into that in a little while, but I mean, I was again messing around with the settings on the Red Zone Blitz, figuring just doing tests, and everyone's commenting, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you up to?" So I figured it out. I put up a live stream as the game was ending, and everyone got my reaction as it happened. I looked like a little schoolgirl, but it was awesome. And I mean, if we want to get into it real quick, again, last week I said that the play before the Hail Mary, the play did not look like it was a face mask on Aaron Rodgers, but the referees called it anyway. And we all know what happened. Richard Rodgers caught the Hail Mary to win the game. So Packers are sitting at 8-4 on top of that division as of right now. But I think what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at some of the divisions, more importantly, the playoff picture as it stands today. And some of the wild card games or some of the games that have, I guess you can say, wild card implications, because most of the teams in the NFL right now, as it stands today, are still alive in the playoff hunt with the exception of a couple of teams. The Chargers are out, the Titans are out, the Browns are out. I believe the Dallas Cowboys are out, even though they're also 4-8. But they would have to – actually, no, they're not out because I think they have a shot at winning their division if they win out. So that they're still alive as well. So I think every NFC team is alive, and then you have 3 teams, I believe, in the AFC that are out, which is remarkable. So perhaps maybe the 49ers might also be out, but we should look into this. Right off the bat, I want to head to the AFC because the last 2 weeks you have the Patriots, who started the season at 10-0, are now 10-2, losing 2 consecutive weeks. One to the Broncos, one to the Eagles. I have my thoughts on it. Ezra, you being a fan in the AFC East, any initial thoughts on the Patriots, why they've struggled the last 2 games?
I'm going to chalk it up to injuries, to be honest. And they were injuries, and you faced one of the most dominating defenses this year in the Broncos. And, they had a lot of chances to win that game. And last week, with all your offensive pieces missing, Grunk, Amendola, Edelman, all these guys. I understand Tom Brady for a lot of years have, created something out of nothing. But at some point, it's going to catch up to you. It's going to bite you in the butt. And then they caught him up to the butt. They had very little at their disposal. They're missing Lewis, their top weapon behind the backfield. They just had a lot of injuries, and versus the Eagles, who have the potential. I know it hasn't looked and it hasn't happened a whole lot this year, but they have the potential to put a lot of points on the board. And when you don't have those weapons to compete with that, you get the result. Overall, I think if I'm a Patriots fan, I wouldn't be too worried. It sucks that now you have to really try to fight to get one of these buys, the top, fight for home field advantage, because when you had it virtually locked 2 weeks ago, that's the thing now. But I think overall, you shouldn't be too worried because you got the players coming back, and you just got to wait a couple weeks till Amendola, Edelman, Gronk is back. I think Amendola, he's like probable this week, I believe.
Right, and I'm going to agree with you. I think injuries has definitely plagued that team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And it shows a little bit of Tom Brady is he's human. He's not a robot. They're going to lose some games, but losing everybody is just too hard, and you're not going to be able to come back from that. So if you're a Patriots fan, you're still 10-2 at the end of the day. Yes, you lose to a team who isn't very good in the Philadelphia Eagles, who I think are a little bit of a mess, but it did come off of some special teams plays. I think it was a punt return, an interception return, things of that nature. It wasn't necessarily all offensive, wasn't necessarily all defensive. It was all three sides of the ball, I guess you can say. You usually talk about two, but the Eagles had that third last Sunday, I believe it was, against the Patriots. So that's just the NFL, and I'd say 98% of people thought the Patriots would win at home, and that just was not the case. So I wouldn't be too concerned as a Patriots fan. It's just one of those fluky games. Now, as it stands in the AFC East, the Patriots are 10-2. The Jets are at 7-5, and if the playoffs started today, the Jets are actually the 6th seed, which is good for you, as your team would be in the playoffs.
Hey, I predicted they would come in last place, so yes, I'm. This is gravy for me. This is playing with house money for me. For me personally, a lot of Jet fans thought this team would be really good and such. I thought they were overrated the team. And 7-5, we have a lot of teams looking over our shoulders. They're right there. You got the Steelers 7-5. The only reason we have the 6th seed right now is because we have a better conference record. You got the Texans 6-6. The Bills, who are in our division, 6-6. The Raiders, who are 5-7, 2 games back on us, actually beat us. So if they tie with us at the end of the season with the same record, they'll have that tiebreaker. So there's a lot of teams that are right there.
Well, crazy enough, the Jaguars and the Ravens are still alive at 4-8, mathematically speaking. It's crazy to me how at this point of the season, I'd say however many, in the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, at this point, you're not going to have 27 or 28 teams still alive and still in the playoff hunt as it is this season. I think this season so far has been a lot more exciting. And yes, some of that has been due to injuries. I think you can point towards the NFC East as weird as that division is. Tony Romo being hurt has made that division more exciting to watch because the Giants have been choking games. I just saw an image or a picture saying that if the games for the Giants have ended 75 seconds less, they would be 10-2 rather than 5-7. So they've found ways to lose. The Eagles have been a very inconsistent team. The Redskins, I guess you can also say they're inconsistent. And then the Cowboys sitting at 4-8. These last 2 games, kind of surprised that they've won.
Even though they're the worst division in football this year, I think you have to say they're the most exciting division in football because it's a complete mess, chaos, a joke. It's funny how the Cowboys are still alive. And when the Redskins have a chance have a chance to take control of this division by winning against, a Romo-less Cowboys team, the Giants losing to the Jets, the Eagles facing the Patriots, they lose. It's hilarious. So you give the Giants a chance to still take the division. You keep the Cowboys alive, and with the Eagles winning, they put themselves in that position again to take this division. It's you gotta love it. You got to love it. Sports is a fantastic soap opera. It is wrestling. It is everything. You just love the storylines.
I'm looking at the NFC right now. Panthers still remarkable that they're 12-0, that they're still undefeated. The Cardinals are 10-2. I feel like the Cardinals are a team that not too many people talk about, and they're a very successful team. Then the seeding has the Packers.
They're top 5 in offense and defense.
Right. They're a very successful team. The Packers in the NFC are actually the 3rd seed. The Redskins are considered to be the 4th seed right now. And then in the wild card spots, you've got the Vikings at 5 and the Seahawks at 6. 2 teams that just played each other. That game had huge implications. Talk about a team that is on the comeback right now. The Seattle Seahawks.
You know what? You give them a lot of credit because they won. I believe they won 5 out of the last 6 games. And I had them dead in the water. I said they won't make the playoffs. But you know who deserves a lot of credit, besides the Seahawks for actually take care of business, is the Falcons. The Falcons. Where were they? How were they started this season? 6-0, was it? 5-1?
I want to say 6-0.
What's their record now?
No, it was 5-0. 5-0. They started 5-0, lost 1, won 1.
And 6 now.
Yep. 5 straight losses.
If they took care of business, if they won 2 games since that 5-0 start, the Eagles will still be looking outside in right now.
The problem with the Falcons is they don't know how to. They're almost like the Giants. They don't know how to finish games. They keep games too close. They don't capitalize on their opportunities once they get once they get the ball in opponent's territory. They don't know what the heck is going on. Last 5 games they've lost, and here are the scores of the last 5 games. They lost 23-20, so they lost by 3. They lost to the Niners 17-16, they lost by 1. They lost to the Colts 24-21, lost by 3. Lost to the Vikings 20-10, that was the biggest one, and then they lost to the Buccaneers this last week 23-19, that was by 4. I mean, these are all games that they've lost by about a field goal, by 1 point. If they scored a touchdown, they would. This is and the thing that bothers me, especially if you're a fan of this team, in my opinion, Matt Ryan could be a top, I'd say 6-7 quarterback. Right now, he's not. He's not playing like that. He's turning the ball over. You have the weapon on the outside in Julio Jones. You have one of the breakout players of the league this year in Devontae Freeman. And I believe the offensive line is pretty good. I mean, they've drafted recently to address the offensive line. So offensively speaking, this team should not be struggling to put up points as they are, putting up 10 points against the Vikings, putting up 19 against the Buccaneers. The last 5 losses that they've had, they've only surpassed 20 points twice, and they've scored 20 and 21. So right now, this team is not finding the end zone. And they need to figure it out quick. Otherwise, they're not making the playoffs guaranteed.
Well, they've been heading downward for quite a while, over a month now. It doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good for them at all, the Falcons. And you had another team in their division who's been on the turn up and who's a quarterback that's maturing each week, balling for his team, and that is Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or sit above the Falcons at 6-6 in the playoff standings, or fighting for that wild card spot, which I don't think a lot of people, are talking about. You're talking about a surprise team. I think Buccaneers deserve to be in that conversation. And remember I said last year, usually off-season champions do not translate the first year. The Buccaneers made a ton of moves last year. They cleared out Houseburn, a lot of free agents last year, and that was year one, and that was a disaster. They got the first overall pick. Now this year, a lot of those guys are hold over. They built some of that chemistry. Then you got an emerging quarterback, a rookie guy, developing, and that chemistry is growing with that team. They're reaping the benefits from last year's, clearing house and getting that talent in. So the Buccaneers, not a lot of people talked about them, but obviously the truck is moving in the right direction.
Yeah, you better hope so, because the Buccaneers have been in that division the last 5 years. I think they've been the team who's been probably the most disappointing. So Jameis is giving them something to look forward to for a franchise that hasn't had a lot to look, hasn't had a lot of hope. Mike Glennon really didn't do that for them. But Jameis Winston being the number 1 overall pick and being from the state and playing at FSU, I think was the right selection for the Buccaneers. Again,
he should be a Jet.
My only issue with Jameis was all of the off the field issues when you evaluated, him as a player and what he was going to bring as a franchise quarterback. But it's worked out. And I don't think Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And he could get all the free, was it lobster? He could get all the free lobster, or was it crab legs? Yeah, crab legs. He can get all the free crab legs now, and he can't get in trouble. Enjoy it.
Nope.
Deserve it.
Can't get in trouble. And you talk about that division. Panthers obviously best record in the NFL right now, but I mean, the Buccaneers could sneak into a wild card spot.
Yeah, they're 7 right now. They're right behind the Seahawks for that 6th spot.
Right. I mean, if you want to look at their last, how many games are left? 4?
Yes.
They have the Saints at home. They're at the Rams. They got the Bears at home, and then they're at the Panthers. The Panthers, at that last game of the season at Carolina, could be a win for the Buccaneers because the Panthers could very well rest some of their starters. Rest Cam Newton, rest Luke Kuechly, rest Norman, rest any of the guys that you want to rest. Get ready for the playoffs. You have a first-round bye. Don't risk the injuries. The Buccaneers could win that one, potentially get in. So these are all winnable games, I think, for the Buccaneers if they play their cards right.
Yes.
Second in rushing yards in the NFL per game.
Doug Martin's having a huge year no one's talking about.
Yep.
Absolutely. He's on 2 of my fantasy teams. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. He's having and I feel like some games he's not even getting a lot of the carries because, Jameis Winston's been really good the last, month plus. But Doug Martin's having a huge comeback year. Happy for him. But the Panthers are bouncing on, I said the last time I was here, I had Cam Newton, Brady right there, 1 and 1A for MVP. I know it's not Brady's fault the last couple of weeks because he's missing pieces because of injury. But I think now, if you're asking me right now, who's the clear-cut MVP, I'm going Cam Newton right now today. Tom Brady's still there, but I think we got a clear MVP right now. It's Cam.
It's not a bad pick. I think many people would probably pick Cam at this point too. Real quick, let's head down to the I guess it's no longer the comment box. I guess it's going to be the chat box. We can call it the FanDuel chat box. Take some questions from you guys.
We got some Panthers God said, much rather play Buccaneers in playoffs than Seahawks.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah, you don't want, Yeah. If you're the Panthers, now this is the interesting questions. You're 15-0. You're 15-0. Week 17 comes around. You face the Buccaneers, which I believe is how it's set up. Am I right?
Yeah.
The Panthers and Buccaneers.
Last game of the season.
You got the number 1 seed locked up. The bye week locked up. Do you let the Buccaneers win to let them go in the playoffs and forget about the 16-0? Or do you say, you know what? We want 16-0. We want to chase history. I'm asking you. I'm asking everyone in the chat box. You're 15-0. You don't want to face the Seahawks. Would you let the Buccaneers win the game so you could face them in the playoffs instead of you know who? And it's not guaranteed that you're going to play the Seahawks. Maybe the Seahawks lose in the first round, right? Because you got a bye week. You got a guaranteed bye week.
Yeah, it really depends on the seeding.
But I'm saying, how would you look at that? Would you chase history? Would you chase history, or would you let the Buccaneers make the playoffs?
I mean, it's been done. The Patriots won 16-0 in the regular season. That's not what matters.
No, I know that doesn't matter. It's 19-0.
No. I would give up the last game of the season as a loss to win the Super Bowl and make sure my starters are rested. Not risk any injuries in that last game of the season. I would rather go 18-1 with a Super Bowl win rather than 18-1 with a Super Bowl loss.
Okay, so you're saying you'll let the Buccaneers win?
Yes. That if I was a Panthers fan, that's what I would want if the team was in that situation.
Okay, we got Turn Down says, if I was the Panthers, I would let them win, rest my starters, stay healthy for the playoffs. I think that's what they always do anyways.
See?
That's not
on you.
The Patriots didn't do that. They went for it. So they don't always do that.
That's fine. I'm just saying, someone's on my side.
I am not disagreeing with your point of view, and I'm not disagreeing if the Panthers went for it, because this history that gives you that, let me tell you something. Anybody could win a championship, David. Anybody. It's having a dynasty, being that true legendary, dynasty, or be memorable. That's what makes your team or organization or whatever special. That's what will make your team special. If people will talk about you 30 years from now. Did anybody talk about whoever won a championship 30 years ago for 1 year? No, we only talk about the Steelers in the 70s. We talk about the 49ers in the 80s. We talk about the Cowboys in the 90s. And we talk about the Patriots in the 2000s. Am I right or wrong? There's very few teams that win a single championship and they get talked about. Very few teams. That's what makes history, or chasing history, that aura makes it, appealing. You want to have that special piece in the history of the NFL and people's minds.
So I was just thinking about it. I'd say the Packers covered the 60s. The Steelers covered the 70s. Who'd you say covered the 80s?
49ers.
Niners. Cowboys, right, in the 90s?
Yes. Hello? You there? Hello? David? Come on. Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, I was saying I don't think many people disagree with that. I think that's, well, so if we're talking about from 2000 2010, you had the Patriots. So far, who's that front runner from 2011 to 2015, 2016?
Well, I think it's
kind of been scattered between teams.
Well, I think people still might, call it the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady era because they just won a championship, and it was 10 years. It was 10 years before, they won last a champion. It could have been maybe the Steelers, because the Steelers could have had 3 championships at this point with Big Ben in his era and such. So I don't know if we want to get into that conversation, but I still think people might put the Patriots. This is still their era, even though it was a long time ago before last year that they won their championship. But it's the same people. It's Tom Brady, Bill Belichick.
There was a comment that was made. Here it is by Super Hippo 95 a bit earlier. Chuck Pagano or Tom Coughlin, who's fired if their team doesn't make the playoffs?
Chuck.
Yeah, I think that would be Chuck Pagano as well. Tom Coughlin, everyone always talks about Tom Coughlin being on the hot seat, and he never gets fired, and he's always there. And then, they usually talk about it when his team did pretty poorly the season before, and they start out, pretty average, and they end up winning the Super Bowl. It happened twice. I feel like it happened twice. They start talking about Tom Coughlin, he wins a Super Bowl. They start talking about Tom Coughlin, he wins a Super Bowl again. I don't see Tom Coughlin leaving the Giants or getting fired.
If there's one year that I had a pick that I was a little scared for Tom Coughlin, it would be this year. Because like you said, all the late losses, all the late game losses they had this year, a lot of people might point at that's a coaching thing. And
but
such.
Isn't it?
But I mean, believe me, if you're asking my opinion, if I'm the owner, I'm looking at the whole thing like, you know what? Going into the year, how many people expected the Giants to be this competitive? You know, in games, because their defense, besides their secondary, is a whole lot of no names. I couldn't name one person at defensive line. You know, when JPP went down, or got blown up, hand. That whole situation got blown up, pun intended. I think the lack of talent. Victor Cruz being hurt, he hasn't played this year. It's just the lack of talent that the Giants were given this year. Tom Coughlin was given this year. I would keep him for how competitive they. I think Giants fans should be, kind of happy they've been competitive all year. But he's going to be in a hot seat because just the way. But I don't think he'll be fired. But I would be scared. This is the one year I'd be scared for him.
But here's the thing. Isn't it a kind of the coaching staff's job to kind of put the team in that winning position? But isn't it the player's job to finish the whole thing? Isn't it the player's job to finish their job? I guess you can say. That was poorly worded. I just feel like the players aren't getting, but they're not getting it done. I mean, the team is competitive. The team is winning up until the fourth quarter with a minute or two to go, and they just lose. I mean, is that really on Tom Coughlin, or is it on the team as a whole?
I think it's as a whole. I think it's both sides of it, because who do these players get their instruction from? It's been mental mistakes more than talent mistakes when it comes to these late games. And I'm not blaming that on coaching. Like that first one, I guess, against the Cowboys, Eli Manning, he had the ball in his hands. He could have took a sack, or he could have ran the ball. He could have did multiple things, but he made a mistake and left too much time on the clock and such. We already know what happened there. But that's something that the coach instructs Eli. You know what? We're going to go for this play. If something, just run the ball or just take the sack. Make sure you take time off the clock if we're going to go for a field goal here. Stuff like that. So
we got a lot of comments trickling in. Wed Nose, turned down for what? Jamex, Petrie. Appreciate all the comments coming in. Let's take a question. Or a comment here.
I see Titans. I hear. Do you guys think if Chip Kelly gets fired by the Eagles, he will get hired by the Titans?
Well,
why was he? Why would the Titans?
Here's what happened when Marcus Mariota had that 87-yard run on Sunday for a touchdown. Chip Kelly must have had half a heart attack or something, because that is all he wanted for his team this year. He just wanted Marcus Mariota to just have one big amazing play so he could throw up his middle fingers in the air and tell everybody, see, this is my guy. This is why I drafted him. This is why I traded up for him. This is why this team is going to be successful in the NFL for years to come. But Chip Kelly wasn't able to do that. That was Chip Kelly's guy. It still is Chip Kelly's guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow tries to reunite with them like they used to do in Oregon, however you pronounce it, in college. I still feel like deep down, Chip Kelly wants Marcus Mariota, wants to coach him, wants to run the offense that he wants to run.
I think the only way, first of all, I don't think the Eagles will fire Chip Kelly. Second of all, the only way I believe the Titans can get Chip Kelly, because he can get a ton of offers from college. Okay, so he still have his leverage. No matter how his season's going with the Philadelphia Eagles, he will have leverage. Why would I go? He doesn't need the Titans. The Titans need him more than vice versa. So the Titans would say, you know what? You still have 100% final say on personnel moves, such like this, and you get your boy Marcus Mariota, and you can construct this team the way you want to, because they'll have a ton of cap. They'll have a high draft pick. You know, he'll be able to mold it the way he wants to. So, but I don't think this is the last year with the Eagles. I don't believe so. It's not like he's had a terrible run. He went to the playoffs the first 2 years coaching in Philadelphia. This year hasn't worked out the way he's wanted it to, but this will be his first year. If they don't make the playoffs, that's considered a failure. So I don't think he'll be fired. After 1 year?
I don't think so either. I don't think he'll be fired. But if it's not next year, it's going to be sometime soon. It's got to be. Some people have thrown out in the chat box, what about Hugh Jackson?
I was going to say there's a lot of Hugh Jackson love in the comment box. David, who was repping Hugh Jackson the last couple years? Before the media, the Bengals hyped him up and everything. Now he's a hot commodity. Come on, right here.
Yeah, I know.
Right here. Right here. Since the Raiders, I've been hyping the man up. I've been saying I wanted the Jets to hire him as offensive coordinator, interview him as a head coach way before this year with the Bengals. And I'm loving that everybody's like, well, Hugh Jackson will be a great hire. Hugh Jackson, I want him to go to the Titans. I want Hugh Jackson to come here. I want Hugh Jackson to go there. Bandwagon. I was on it. I was driving it. I was driving that sucker. The Hugh Jackson, truck or, train or whatever. I don't know what kind of ride it is. Maybe a Honda Accord. But the point is I'm driving it. And Hugh Jackson, since he'll have some leverage and he'll have a couple jobs, I don't think he'll go to Titans either. I don't think so. I think the Dolphins will be a fantastic fit for Hugh Jackson. I think he'll fit his personality. They got, talent and such. I think the Miami Dolphins, but the Titans will be going after somebody. That's for sure.
Joe Philbin. It ain't no Joe Philbin.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on Cleveland? Jamex, thoughts on Cleveland? What? Whew, Cleveland. They're the worst team in the NFL.
You think they should be getting a whole new regime coming in next year, right? Again?
Well, that's to be expected for the 10th time for the last 10 seasons. It's gonna happen. Someone's gonna get fired. Probably someone who's a Ray Farmer, someone. They'll bring in their guys. They'll fire the old ones. They'll draft some bum in the first round who isn't going to pan out, and they're going to redo it all over again. That's just how Cleveland has been for the last 20 years, ever since they came back to Cleveland. I mean, I don't even know how people in Cleveland are still fans. Now, to talk about testing your loyalty, man. I mean, being a Cleveland Browns fan has to be one of the more depressing things in all of sports.
If I'm the Browns, this is what I would do. Because obviously they can't get a big name. I don't think they'll be able to get an established coach. Maybe if I'm the Browns, there's a guy who was the offensive coordinator for the Broncos last year. He's doing a good job this year in Chicago.
Yeah, Adam Gase.
Once they get a new regime in there, a new general manager, a new front office, there's a head coach out there in Chicago that knows how to do a little something with quarterbacks. Even though they've been veterans, I know Peyton Manning's a legend. Jay Cutler, high potentials. He's had some success in this league. I know those are veteran guys. But let's give Adam a chance. New place. An offensive guy. What was the last offensive guy the Browns had as their head coach? Who was their head coach before Mike Pennant? It was I don't even remember.
What's his name? Rob Chudzinski or whatever it was,
Oh,
right?
he was offensive coordinator, wasn't he? Wasn't he
No,
an
it was a
offensive guy?
coach.
I know, but wasn't he an offensive guy? I think he was the offensive
Um,
guy too. You know what's sad about the Browns? The last coach that I can remember, even though I know there's been plenty of them, the last coach that I remember from the Browns is Butch Davis. That was like 10 years ago. I know they had Romeo Cornell, okay, stuff like that. So
I don't even remember the last handful of coaches in Cleveland. I don't. Pat Shurmur, right? I think Pat Shurmur was the head coach 2-3 years ago.
yeah,
They
they
brought
had
in
so many.
Chudzinski.
They had so many.
Chudzinski didn't work. Mike Pettin is now next year is going to be,
Mike Penn
God
had a
only
first
knows.
good year. He had a good. I think he overachieved last year with that team. I don't think he's a terrible head coach. It's just it's a whole lot of it's to be successful in NFL, it truly is an up and down, and especially if you want long success, it's really a top and down, effort. The top of the management down to the bottom of management have to be together, and got to make good moves. So even Mike Penn looks depressed when he's on the press conference.
Johnny Manziel, is he in or out in Cleveland after this season?
I think that depends who the new regime is. I think it depends. I bet you know what? If Johnny is probably praying he is out of there. But do you really give up on a first round quarterback after 2 years? He's barely. It's not like he's barely.
Let me put it to you like this: as this team is 2-10.
Yes.
Currently hold the worst record in the NFL, which puts them in line to draft first in the 2016 NFL draft. If they are smart, they let McCown go. Guy's too old. You have to know when. You have to absolutely know when it's time to let go of something that's not going to work. Johnny Manziel may have talent, but the off-the-field issues are going to continue and continue and continue, and it's not going to stop, and it's going to make your team look like idiots.
Like I said, it depends on the regime. If the new regime wants to draft a quarterback that high, I'm all for it, obviously. Anytime you could pick up a player that you think is going to be the franchise guy or be, upgrade at a certain position, you take him. So if that happens, yes, I would probably try to trade Johnny Manziel. You'll probably get a 6th rounder for him at this point. Or
a 6th?
How much you think you're going to get?
Dallas, Jerry Jones.
It's not going to give him a third.
Listen, Jerry Jones is going to overrule everybody, and here's why.
He can overrule, but he's not stupid. Jerry Jones is not that. He's just not stupid. He's not going to give up.
Jeff Hardy?
I mean, John Hardy.
Whatever. Greg Hardy. Sorry, Greg Hardy. Jeff Hardy.
John Hardy.
Greg Hardy is on that roster right now. You're telling me that Jerry Jones isn't stupid?
Greg Hardy, is he a top 5, top 10 defensive end in this league?
Yes. I don't know.
You don't know. That's a top 5, top 10, defensive end. I'm just saying, if you're the Browns, you do this, yes, I'll probably get rid of Johnny Manziel, and I'll keep McNown because, backup quarterbacks are very valuable, unless you want to get a McNown and keep Manziel as your backup quarterback. I think one of these quarterbacks are going to be there in next year's roster.
Okay.
I don't think both of them are gone.
I think Dallas needs to start investing for the future here because Tony Romo isn't going to last forever.
Yeah, well, that's true. And if you're the Cowboys and Johnny Manziel is available, especially if he gets released, I think Johnny Manziel will be ecstatic.
Jamex says, what about RG3?
To where? To go to the Cleveland?
To go somewhere. What about Dallas?
Nah, I don't. I think if he had his choice, he'll go after Johnny. I think if he had his choice, he will go with Johnny.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of these two end up in Dallas next year.
But either way, even if any of these two are in Dallas, let's be serious. They're not going to play. Not next year. It's still Tony Romo's team, still his city, still his job. And he's got the big contract to back that up. And he's got the support of his owner who recently came out. Jerry Jones said, hey, I see a lot of years left in Tony Romo. I still believe in the man. People may get on Jerry Jones. You know what? If I was a player in the NFL, if there was one owner I want to play for, it is Jerry Jones. It is Jerry Jones.
No, it's not. No, it's
Jerry
not.
Jones. I want to play for Jerry Jones.
Why do you want to play for Jerry Jones?
I want to be in Jerry's world, baby.
Why do you want to play for a team that hasn't won a playoff game in X amount of years? They won one playoff game in what, 20 years?
He backs up his players. He supports his players. What do you mean? That's when you got LaShawn McCoy crying, when you got DeMarco Murray crying, when you got all these players crying, there's no loyalty. There's no loyalty. Putting on all these Justin Bieber songs and all these babyface songs, crying. Okay? Jerry Jones backs him up. Give me the star. Give me the star in the helmet, baby. Tell him. Tell him. Jerry Jones backs you up. It's plain and simple. And guess what? When you remember you saw Johnny? Well, this was Johnny last week, right? Singing that Future song, going like that. Guess what? Jerry Jones would be right next to him, getting his own bottle. Like, yeah, yeah, we was partying. So what? So what? We was partying. He can do what he wants, so long as he throws them touchdowns, baby. That's what he's gonna do. Jerry Jones is gonna be right. You saw the pictures of Jerry Jones snugging it up with those ladies and everything. Him and Johnny gonna do it together. Give me that star on the helmet.
Anyway, Jerry Jones is not. If I was a player, I would not want to play for Jerry. I want to play for a team that's going to win and be successful. That has not been the Cowboys' MO for the last 2 decades, man. You talked about the Cowboys in the 90s being that team. That is, when you think of the 90s, you think of the Cowboys. When was the last time anyone had that feeling or that thought? Since then, it's been way too long, and they haven't been like that since. You want to play for Jerry now?
Who's the best team in the NFC East when healthy?
Depends on the year, man.
It's the Cowboys. All right, it's the Cowboys.
What about 2 or 3 years ago when RG3 came in the league in his rookie year and they won that division?
Why do we keep talking about RG3's?
When they won the division.
But he had 1 year. RG3 had 1 year. 1 year.
I'm just
saying.
And
everybody's still on RG3. Robert Griffin. Then
why didn't the Cowboys?
Please. The funny part is people have given up on Derrick Rose already. He had more years. He won an MVP before RG3. People still love RG3. I don't understand it.
I'm just saying, if the Cowboys were the best team in the league, then why did the Redskins win the division a couple years ago?
That was a couple years ago. That was 4 years ago. I don't know.
They had Tony Romo. That's one of the bigger keys in the equation.
I was in my 20s when RG3 was.
Oh, here we go. I was in my 20s.
I was in my 20s. Okay. It takes a while to develop a team. Has Jerry been the smartest owner? No, obviously I agree with you, but come on. He's got a talented team. He had a very good offseason this year. It's just injuries has bit him really. When you lose your quarterback, who I think is a top 5 quarterback currently in the NFL, is going to be a big time loss to your team.
Wednose asks about Kaepernick. I mean, there's a lot of these mobile, little gimmicky quarterbacks that are going to be running around. I heard the 49ers are thinking about keeping him now. I don't know about Kaepernick.
Oh, Cap. There's going to be plenty of quarterbacks available, right? You got RG3, Johnny, Cap, Mark Sanchez. I just had to throw that in there. I just had to. I'm sorry. I don't, the Cleveland Browns have a couple options, right? Replace him with RG3? The Browns? That's a joke. I don't think that's going to happen. Cap, I don't see a great future for him either, which I know you agree with.
Yeah, right. No, but I didn't even get to finish my thought of however many minutes ago about the Browns. If you get rid of McCown, if you decide to trade Johnny Manziel and get some sort of a draft pick for him, and really buckle down with this scouting department that's been just 100% booty for the last 10 years, if they can hit, and this is assuming that they get the first overall pick. I don't know if I'm laggy right now or not, but if they get the first overall pick in this draft, they need to hit on a quarterback. They really do. I mean, you can't keep missing, and the Browns are gonna miss. I already know they're gonna miss, but they need to draft a quarterback.
They need to hit on more than just a quarterback, because you could have a great talented guy. He can have all the intangibles, but if you don't have the right support, you don't have the right structure, you don't have the right teaching, it will be a disaster. It will be a disaster. So they just got to hit on more than a QB this offseason. They got to get the right regime. They got to get the right people in there to guide the future the right way. And to me, has it been like, it's been easier to draft quarterbacks the last couple years than it's ever been? There's been a lot of successful young quarterbacks.
I don't know. I mean, there was one draft, I think, the year after Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson, Tannehill, and those guys, RG3. The year after that, I think you had E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith, Glennon, Matt Barkley. Those guys highlighting the draft. I think Ryan Nassib might have been in that draft. Bunch of bums.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, but you know,
you got this. You got this year. You got Winston. You got Mariota. Last year, you got Blake Bortles, who's having a very good year. You got Derek Carr. Who was the year before?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy B. You got a couple. You got 5 quarterbacks right there. Got 5 quarterbacks right there the last 2 years. So it's pretty sweet. And we got some talent coming in.
I don't know about the quarterbacks. I haven't watched their games or anything like that. So,
oh, your boy, do the Browns call it quits on Josh Gordon?
Oh, no one's talked about Josh Gordon. I think he's out of the league. What's he doing right now?
Well, I think technically he's still in the Browns, but the Browns have his rights. I think the only way you quit on Josh Gordon, besides him failing another test, is what's his condition? Is he staying active? Is he still physically fit? Is he still working out? Is he still learning the craft? Or is he out there, on his Ricky Williams, journey? Which is fine.
Why can't Ricky? What? Here's a question: can players in states that have marijuana legalized, such as Colorado and Washington,
the NFL,
still illegal?
Still legal. It's in the contract. It's in the contract.
Okay, just making sure.
What's going on? He said, man, speaking about wide receivers, that he's talking about is a definition of wasted talent. Speaking of wide receivers, and you've never heard another man. You talk about I was just talking about Blake Bortles. Imagine the Jaguars still had Justin Blackman, which Blackman, yes, he was a stud when he played, man. When he actually he was a stud.
He's done though.
The Jaguars basically gave up on him. They say whatever. Yeah, if he ever comes back, yeah, we'll deal with that.
I heard an interesting story on Justin Blackman. I was on Mike and Mike, however many months ago. It might have been before the draft, and they had former general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Forget his name, but he said that they had a guy who was hired by the Buccaneers to go in to this popular bar at OSU. And they knew that it was Justin Blackman's kind of hangout spot, and they would see this guy would come in, order a drink, sit at the bar, and just wait for Justin. He would have Justin would come in, do his thing, whatever. And the guy would just watch Justin, see how he acts around people, everything. do the research, some undercover stuff, and they took him off the board. They took him off the board completely. I don't remember why. I guess something happened. I don't remember, but they didn't like what they saw, and they took him off the board. And guess what? That was the smart thing to do. Why? Because look where Justin Blackmon is now. Not in the league, not playing. Imagine if Tampa Bay took him. What would everybody be saying? The GM who took him was an idiot. He was a dummy. Why? He didn't do his research. Looks like Jacksonville didn't do their research at the time.
Yeah, I agree, man. He's only 25. That's so young, so young. Only 25 right now, today. And his career is probably over. But he was a stud. The quarterbacks he played with, he was doing his thing too.
DGB, Dorial Green Beckham over Justin Blackmon. Dorial Green Beckham, I hope, is going to be good. I liked him a lot.
I wanted my Jets to draft him. Whatever. Every player that I want my Jets to draft, it just never works out. never works out the way I want it to. What's other teams we're going to talk about? Boom, 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 boom. A team talking about surging. I was talking about the Seahawks earlier, and I had them dead in the water. This is another team that I must apologize, and I was totally wrong on, and I said they were dead in the water. The Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. Once my boy Jamal Charles went down, I thought this team was finished. But this defense, this running game has been going. Alex Smith, they're really putting in a team effort, and they've been rocking.
Oh, yeah? Alex Smith?
I won't say, yeah.
Did that?
Alex Smith. I never hated Alex Smith. I just never want him as my quarterback. Never. I still don't.
I take him over Geno.
Well, come on. Oh, wow.
That's your quarterback, is it not?
That's not. You act like I rep Geno. That's my boy. Like I got a Geno jersey. Saying. I got Geno posters behind me or something. Like that's the guy I wanted the Jets to draft. Oh man. Turn down for Watt says same as me. Ezra, Texans don't take the players I want. Oh, okay. The Texans also, the Texans are probably just a quarterback away from really smacking people in the mouth. Yeah. And being a real contender in this league.
I'm interested to see if Tom Savage does anything in Houston. I feel as if, with the exception of a few players, I think the Texans usually draft pretty well. So they just need a quarterback, and that's it. That's really it.
Well, they might have to get a running back now too, because Foster, this guy gets hurt every year. Every year. And we don't know what kind of player he's going to be next year. But the Texans, man, they're going to be dangerous in the future. And they're going to cause a lot of troubles. They're 6-6. They're right there for the playoff hunt and wild card. So they're going to cause a lot of trouble even this year. But next year, I think people better watch out. I think that right now, calling it Texans, smacking people in the mouth, maybe a top 3 seed next year, depending who their quarterback is.
Yeah, that's a huge, that's a huge what if or who or, But I think that division is also what helps them out in the long run, even though I think the Jaguars are going to make a little bit more noise. And then you got the Titans with Marcus Mariota and Dorial Green Beckham. I don't know. That division is going to get interesting. I think they're not going to be...
Finally, they've been sucking for so long. Right. All these high draft picks. They finally emerged from somewhere Man.
I think the
Triple
Titans.
man.
I think the Titans are missing someone defensively, like a big key piece, a big, a difference maker on that team. I don't think they have that right now defensively. I think the Texans are missing a quarterback. I think the Jaguars are probably missing some sort of big defensive piece as well. And then the Colts. And what do the Colts need?
Turn down
Defense?
for what is coming at you right now. He said,
Uh-oh.
"Oh wow, about 5-6 weeks ago, you said we were about to have the first pick again." Wait, who's that? Is he talking about the Texans? Yeah, he's talking about the Texans.
Who? Me or Ezra said that? I don't remember saying that.
I think you said that.
Well, we were probably talking about who's going to get the first overall pick, because I think someone asked that question. I think
someone did ask that question.
Houston. I said the 49ers at the time. I think I said those two teams. But the Texans have made a comeback. That's for sure. Not denying it. Oh, he said Ezra said that.
I said that.
I don't remember. Hey, it's on. It's recorded. We can go back and check. So
hey, I believe him. I believe I said it. There's plenty of dumb stuff I say, so it's okay.
We're getting some questions about the Titans. Got Jarrell Casey, Brian Arakpo, Derek Morgan. I forgot Arakpo's even on the Titans. Jason McCourty on defense. That is notable, and that's it. I forgot Arakpo was even on that defense. I forgot they even signed him. We are getting more questions about the Cardinals. Do you think the Cardinals are the NFC Super Bowl favorite at this point? No. It's hard to shy away from the Panthers.
Yes, they deserve that respect. Okay. Are the Cardinals very dangerous? Yes. Are they a threat to the Panthers and everyone else in that conference? Of course they are. So I don't think it's far-fetched to say, the Cardinals are NFC Super Bowl favorites. I don't agree with it because the Panthers deserve that respect, but I don't think it's far-fetched because, like I said, they're top 5 on offense. They're number 1 on offense and number 4 on defense. The Panthers can make the Cardinals can make plays on offense and defense. So, yeah. And they got multiple weapons.
I think the Cardinals game, I think they end up going far back versus who I don't know. But I feel like they're a team who can definitely remain in contention, especially if they play at home because of that home field advantage. They don't have to travel to cold, to teams that play in cold climates. They stay down south in Arizona. And if they have to close the top of the roof, I think they can close it. I think. Might be wrong on that, but Carson Palmer has just been playing out of his mind.
You could probably put him in the top 5 MVP. Right? I think so.
Yeah. I think you can put him in the conversation. I don't think he'd win it.
No. I don't think he'll win it. Like I said, this Cam Newton's to lose at this point right now, in my opinion. But you could put Carson Palmer in the top 5. Brady, Cam Newton, Palmer. I will put Adrian Peterson up in my top 5.
Well, AP will be the comeback player of the year, I think.
I don't know. I don't know if you can give a guy that got suspended comeback player of the year. It's not like he got hurt. He got suspended.
He didn't play.
I know he didn't play, but first of all, once again, comeback player of the year, someone made this statement. I forgot who it was, and it's an absolute lock. I agree with them when they said it, is Eric Berry.
I haven't even really kept in touch with how he's played.
It doesn't matter if he's got 1 tackle.
Well, yes, it does.
I know. The man came back from cancer. Okay? That man is a lock. Shut clink clank. Clink clank. To win comeback player of the year. I'm gonna check his stats. Just
check
the boot.
Yeah, check his stats because I'm interested to know how he how he has done. I haven't really kind of kept note or track of that. I just noticed something kind of funny. I was looking at the NFC East and then how the Redskins, Eagles, Giants are all 5-7. Cowboys are at 4-8. The Redskins, who are currently in first place in the division with the tiebreaker, have a different point differential between points scored and points allowed of -29. So they've allowed more points. The Eagles, who are also 5-7, second place in the division, have a -24 differential. They've allowed 24 more points than they've scored. The Giants are the only team that have a positive one at +11, and the Cowboys are in last at -54. Usually when you're bad, you have a big minus, and usually when you're good, you have a big plus. These teams are just pretty much right smack dab in the middle. Like, no one wants to win this division. Yeah, they'll score, 10 points. We'll score 11, win the game. Maybe next week they'll score a couple more points than we will. Man. What do you do if you're a head coach on one of those teams, man? My goodness.
Which teams?
And NFC East.
Oh, it just happens like that.
Look at this.
I think about it like this. If you want, think of where the South was last year. The Panthers won their division with a 7-9 record. What's their record this year?
12-0.
So, maybe these teams will switch and, be stellar teams next year. There's that potential there.
So I said the Giants they're the only team that are positive in this division with a +11 differential. They've scored 307 points, allowed 296. +11. Look at the Panthers, +130. The Cardinals, +150 points. That's intense, man. That's amazing. The Seahawks are in third in the NFC with +76. So interesting stuff. I like looking at numbers sometimes, but I'm gonna head to the chat box real quick. Justin Villarreal. Funny how Foles and Kaepernick were so hyped up, and now they look like garbage. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot can be said about those two guys. You got Blaine Gabbert in San Francisco right now. He ran for 45 yards and a touchdown on the Bears last Sunday. I laughed. I had a good time watching it. It was against the Chicago Bears. But Blaine Gabbert is playing decent. He's playing very okay, which is a lot better than what he was doing in Jacksonville, which was just terrible. So 49ers, what are they, 4-8 now? Let me check. 49ers are 4-8. And you talk about a fake fan base. Don't get me started.
Whoa.
Hey.
Whoa. Fake fan base? Whoa, take it easy.
Scrolling on Facebook.
What happened?
I said you're scrolling on Facebook over there.
They're showing it?
Yeah, it's showing it.
I don't know why.
Anyway.
I was checking out some. Damn. The thing got erased.
The fans and the lack of purchasing tickets and the lack of fans in the stadium and boycotting the team and all of this stuff, it's like, well, you got the Browns, you got the Bills, you got teams who've lost for a very long time. Their fans are filling up the stadium every week. Now you have the 49ers. They had those good 2 or 3 years with Kaepernick when he came on the scene, and that was it. And this last season when everybody jumped ship, if you look at the stadium, nobody's there. No one's watching the games. The price of admission is significantly less than it costs to park your car in the parking lot. And people are still not showing up to watch these games. So if you had a devoted fan base, you had a fan base that loved your team no matter what, win or lose, sunshine and rainbows or if it's pouring rain, nobody's in the stands to watch this team.
If your Packers were terrible, which I can't remember when your Packers were terrible.
It's the 70s and the 80s.
Okay, imagine your team just sucks. You're going to devote the exact same thing when your
Look
team
at
sucks?
the Browns fans. Look at Browns fans. I watched this game last week with the Browns. You look around the stadium, and what is it? It's full. Regardless of them winning or losing, it's full. And they've been losing for a very long time. Same thing with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have an intense, a crazy fan base.
I understand that.
Where the Niners fans go?
I totally agree with you there. I don't want to go the Jim K. Noah route right now. I really don't. Jim K. Noah, you know who he is. He's a Chicago Bulls center. And he got on Cleveland a couple years ago, and he said, what's over there? It's a bunch of factories.
Yeah.
49ers here in San Francisco, right? You got so much to do. You got the sun. You got the water. You got so many things. It's a booming city. What do you got to do in Cleveland? What you got to do? What you got to do in Buffalo? What you going to do in Buffalo? You got nothing to look forward to except your football teams. You go to Sutherland Snow every 7 days a week. When you get that 1 day of the week to escape Cleveland, escape Buffalo, you're going to do it on Sunday. That's what happens. You don't have to watch football in San Francisco. There's so many things to do.
I don't know.
I'll just say that could be part of it. And two, it's regional. Let me be serious. It's a regional thing. Like the Warriors, their fan bases are absolute fantastic throughout all their losing seasons. You know, the Cleveland and Buffalo fans, they deserve they deserve that credit. They are true fans to their organization. And you know what? Losing does become part of what you are as an organization. Isn't that sad? Like, I'm a Jets fan. My team sucks. I know this. Our history sucks. I know this. This is part of what I cheer for, in a sense. Like, this is what they are. And I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for them to, finally get out of this mess, this dimension of losing. Okay? I'm a Yankees fan. When we lose, and we're not expected to win, I'm not into the Yankees like that, because that's not what I'm used to with the Yankees. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm used to the Yankees being there for the playoffs, being there contending for a championship, and being that dominant organization. The Jets, I'm not used to that, so I'm used to the losing. So I feel like, depending on what your team's history is or what you're used to, I think that's what you're cheering for, in a sense, as part of it.
If you take the Packers for an example, this stretch of the last 5-6 games where they haven't been winning. They haven't been winning games. They played like crap against the Lions, and they shouldn't have won that game either. I've watched that game from beginning to end, or all those games from beginning to end. I've always watched the games beginning to end. Now, I understand that the Packers have had more of a winning history in the last roughly 20 years with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. But in these last 5-6 games, with as bad as they've played, I haven't been like, well, I'm not used to this, I'm going to turn the TV off. Haven't turned the TV off. I watch it from beginning to end. So, me personally, I think regardless of how my team does, you can cut me open at the end of the day. I'm going to bleed green and gold.
You haven't seen your Packers struggle of the likes of the Cleveland Browns, the Buffalo Bills, or the 49ers. Okay? You just haven't seen that. You haven't experienced it, Dave.
Here's what happened with the Niners. This is my only...
You're talking about a 3-4 week, 5 week experience.
I understand. I know.
We're talking about years.
I know.
Years, bro. It's in your blood. Just used to the losing. It makes you want to go Johnny Manziel. You know what I'm saying? It makes you want to go up in the club and be like, Jets, again, do it again. We had the lead in the fourth quarter. We were 4-1 beginning of the year. Oh, man. And here we go with 7-9. It make no sense. We had control of it. Just used to it.
Oh, my goodness.
Makes you want to do that. But, you know, you haven't gone through that.
I understand. Here's what happened with the Niners fans. From, I'd say, start of about the 2000s, maybe a little after that, after Jeff Garcia left, up until about 2010 or so, before they made their first run to the NFC Championship, you know, that team was crap. That team was just absolutely horrible. They get into the NFC Championship game. They have John Harbaugh, Kaepernick's doing his thing. They get to the Super Bowl. And it's just this high that everyone's like, well, we're going to be here for years to come. And then all of a sudden it just nosedives into the ocean. They're like, I'm done. I quit. I'm not even going to bother with it because this is stupid. Half the team retires and the other half just went to different teams. Our coach is in Michigan.
You know what? I'm like that with the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, I don't have a strong. That's my favorite basketball team now, right? For the last couple of years since they came to Brooklyn, so I don't have a long history with them. The last couple of years, we went to the playoffs. We've been, competitive. No championship contenders or anything like that. This year, they're absolute joke. I've probably seen a handful of games, if that, and they're absolute joke. I'm not gonna spend my time watching an atrocious product. Okay, I enjoy my time. Okay, there's one thing we can always get money back. We can always grow our hair back. Not like yours. Yours is spectacular. Okay, we can always get materials back. We can always get another bottle. You can never get your time back. So if my team is, the Nets are trash and they put in this terrible product on the court, I won't. That's wasting my time. You're wasting my time.
Yeah,
and it's very valuable. Never get that back.
Jamek says, honestly, I'm surprised that David didn't cheer harder when the Packers won that game against Detroit when he live streamed it.
Because he's used to killing the Lions. Used to killing them.
No, I'll tell you why. First, people were sleeping in the house, so I had to kind of keep it quiet. And two, I didn't want to look like an idiot on the internet, even though I did still look like an idiot.
Well, what's wrong with looking like an idiot? What's wrong with looking like an idiot online, huh?
I forgot. It's idiot Ezra. So, all right, let me read. I don't want to look like like
it's too late. The truth came out. The truth came out. You don't want to look like an idiot. That's okay. I see how it is, bro. I see how it is. Don't want to look like an idiot online.
I still did though. I looked like a little girl. I was laughing. I was like, yeah.
Well, I hope girls don't have your facial hair.
I hope not.
I hope so too. Okay, sir.
What about turn down for what? I just wish Clowney didn't get hurt his rookie year. Also, there was mention of Clowney having a quiet year as well. It's a bit surprising if for the number 1 overall pick last year. Hasn't made a whole lot of noise. 564 RRS. Where would you rank Rodgers to Rodgers for the most exciting win in Packers history? Well, you got the 4 Super Bowl wins for the Packers. I think there's probably plays in each one of those games that was, tops the exciting list. The Antonio Freeman Monday night catch against the Vikings was one of those plays.
I remember that. Oh, I was watching it live.
Yeah, that was cool. But that one, I think top 10. If I had to put a number on it, I can't probably give you an exact number. I'll say top 10 for sure. That was.
Were you surprised? I knew.
I was not. No. I didn't think it was going to be a catch. I didn't think no one was going to catch it.
Forget about a catch. I'm talking about that throw was insane. Okay.
Oh, right.
What was it? 65 yards
61.
in the air. It was something
61.
ridiculous. And it was well into the end zone too, like in the middle of the end zone. Wow. What a throw. I didn't think his arm was that strong. It was strong. He had up there hang time also.
Yeah. Gave
I
enough.
I think
Gave
I,
enough time.
I think they showed a wide view of the throw. It almost hit the jumbotron.
Hmm. Yeah, he had. He gave enough time for his receivers to get in position. So
You know what? To be honest, that throw was so, you know, it took a lot out of him. I hope it doesn't mess up his technique or his motion going forward.
it's not.
I know that might sound funny, but it happens sometimes. The reason I think about that because I used to be heavy into baseball. When a position player, you know, participates in a home run derby, I know that's multiple swings. That's a different kind of swing they do during the regular game, and that's why a lot of times players will have struggles after the home run derby because they altered their swing. I know it was only one throw. I don't know. That just crossed my head. Like, I hope that doesn't bother his motion and his technique
I
going
think.
forward.
I think there's always that one throw in the arsenal for every quarterback that's just called the bomb, and you put everything you've got into that one throw, and you just launch it. That was the bomb. That was the bomb. That was Aaron Rodgers' bomb. He just launched that football as far as he could, and it wound up in the end zone in Richard Rodgers' hands. Did you see the technique catch? Did you see this? He did one of these.
That's how you know your organization is just destined for like just good things. Like, but that doesn't I've never seen that from my Jets. We don't get wins like that. I think the greatest comeback win I've ever seen from my Jets was the Monday Night Miracle when we scored like 30 points in the fourth quarter versus the Dolphins. Oh, my Lord. That's probably, sad to say, the most exciting win I've ever experienced as a Jets fan, and it was a regular season game.
Yeah. I personally,
we were down by 30 and we came back at 1. Oh.
It's got to be one of the biggest comebacks in league history, right?
Yeah, I think it was the biggest comeback in Monday Night Football history or something like that in the fourth quarter.
On those Hail Marys, though, man, they never work. They never work. Yeah, someone slaps it down or what, it gets picked. I wasn't expecting it to be caught. I wasn't expecting it, and, it just puts a big smile on your face. Oh, that was such a great win. That was awesome. If the Packers played the Cowboys in Dallas and he had to make that play, the ball would have definitely hit the Jumbotron. Most definitely. That's a huge Jumbotron at AT&T Stadium. Definitely almost hit the ceiling in Detroit. Would have definitely hit something in Dallas. Hands down, without a doubt. But one thing before we head out, we got about 10 minutes. The Packers, let's not forget, even though they got the W, they played like crap. They played terrible against Detroit. And this is following a 1-4. This was succeeding a 1-4 stretch for the last 5 games. Now they're 2-4 in the last 6 games. But they have not been playing good football, especially offensively. Defensively, I think it's been one of the most one of the better units that they put out on the field in the last couple of seasons. But offensively, Aaron Rodgers is not in rhythm with these receivers. The receivers are dropping footballs. It's just not working out.
They're missing Jordy Nelson, aren't they?
They're missing Jordy Nelson. They're missing the go-to guy. They're missing the guy that's going to make the plays on the sideline. They're missing the guy that's going to allow other receivers for that one-on-one, opposite side of Jordy on that field. Eddie Lacy, poo-poo. James Starks has had to fill in there. So offensive line issues in that game was massive. A lot of injuries going into that game. And as that game progressed, Corey Linsley had to go out. So that game was a total mess. They should have lost it, but they did not. They need to figure out going into this game against the Dallas Cowboys at home on Sunday. But the Dallas Cowboys, again, a team who has struggled throughout the season. So I won't be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys stay in it. Would not shock me because of the way the Packers have played in the last 6-7 games. They need to get it together.
Are you surprised Lions didn't have Megatron defending the Hail Mary? I'm gonna answer that.
I thought that was stupid.
I don't think they were expecting a Hail Mary. 65, 61 yards away, they were not expecting a Hail Mary. I think they were expecting a lateral. Those last lateral plays they do to try to, create.
That's what they. Well, that's what they did on the play of which Aaron Rodgers was face mask. Was that lateral play?
So that's what they were expecting, and that's why I don't think Megatron was on the field. So if you're expecting lateral plays, you don't want Megatron on that defensively. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
So that's what I think it was. I think it was an error in, you know what? I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to gun it 61 yards in the air and have it. Because if you look at the play, the Lions have two defenders besides, the three-man rush underneath because they were expecting the lateral play. I think that's what. But if you expect a Hail Mary, obviously you have Megatron in a Hail Mary. 6'5", man in the end zone. But I don't think that's what they expected.
Right, and it's not even like a Lions defender was there to make a play on the ball either. No one. It was just a clean grab by Richard Rodgers. So, Megatron or not, how do we not know that he was going to be lined up on the left side of the field and the ball was thrown to the right? We don't. We don't know where Megatron would have even been if he had been in for that Hail Mary. So, for him to be in on that play, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense from a standpoint in which Megatron is the guy who's been catching balls in double and triple coverage forever. But on that same note, I don't know. It didn't cross my mind until someone said it, and I was like, no, that's stupid. Just let the cornerbacks do their thing.
Who do you think are the top 3 tight ends in the league?
Greg Olsen is number 2. Behind
Grunk.
No.
That's
it. No. Greg Olsen is number 2.
Gronkowski. Let me tell you something. I asked this question on Twitter. I don't know if I ever brought it up on the Red Zone Blitz, and maybe you guys can answer it. Maybe you can answer it. What do you think is the best, the farthest gap between the best player and the second player by position? I think Gronk, I think I mentioned this on the Red Zone Blitz. Gronkowski is the best tight end, and there's the furthest gap between number 1 and 2 more than any other position. I'm thinking maybe J.J. Watt is in that argument. Maybe J.J.
That's tough, but I think Greg Olsen makes one great case right now. I think he is definitely number 2. Definitely, hands down, without a doubt, number 2. We're going to take a couple questions. Eifert as well. Eifert is not a bad pick there. Turned down for Watt also throws an Eifert.
I still think
for
in the
this
right
season.
I think in the right offense, the right situation, Jimmy Graham.
Well,
but a lot of people might consider him more of a wide receiver than a tight end anyway. So
yeah.
But if you obviously if you want to incorporate blocking and stuff like that, Jimmy Graham doesn't even crack the top 15 when it comes to in terms of blocking for a tight end. So, but his playmaking is up there. His production wise is up there with Gronk, close to it. But Gronk to me is by far the best tight end in football.
Well, we got a couple minutes left. You wanna name your MVP for the night so far, or not so far, but for the night in the chat box? You got JamX, HBK, Turned Down for Watt. These 3 guys have been here the whole time. 564 RRS, I think, has been here for a little while. You got Willify, Justin Villarreal, Wednos. I think Pietri was here for a little while. Super Hippo was here. I think JamX and and HBK have kind of
Wed Nose was doing. He tailed off at the end, but he was doing his thing.
I'm gonna go with Jamex 12 tonight as my MVP.
Now he came in late, so nope, not getting my MVP. Jamex, you come late to meetings, you get what do you get? They usually get like time.
He didn't come in late.
He
didn't come in that late. He came in as the show started.
Came in late. Came about 5 minutes late. Easy.
Okay. All right. So who's your MVP then?
Man, I'm trying to think over here, man. He left early too. Red Nose. He hasn't commented in a while. I'm turned down for what? Why? Just because his name is off the hook. I feel like putting him right there.
Yeah.
And he's got a picture. And because he's got a picture on his profile, I'm going with turn down for what?
All right, turn down for what?
Even though Wendo's would have won if he was still here.
Brian Escobar, man, you're joining the party real late. We're actually about to get off.
Yeah, don't ever yell at a man whose last name is Escobar. Just
Brian Escobar.
I'm just saying, you never know. Never know who he might know. Sorry, Escobar. Do apologize.
Because I'm your fan.
Okay, senor. You saw Narcos? Have you seen Narcos recently? No, you haven't seen Narcos. You have no idea who I'm talking about, Escobar.
No.
Pablo Escobar, you ever heard of that name?
Yeah, the drug lord, right?
Yeah, man. Escobar. Respect that man.
Anyway, that was the show for tonight. We've been on for about an hour and a half. Talked some football, playoffs, seeding, wild card, broke down some divisions, took your guys' questions. Hopefully we'll be on next week as well. The chat box worked this week. No one froze. Everything's working as it should be. The Red Zone Blitz is back to normal. Thank goodness. All right, Ez, we're gonna head out.
You gotta tell these people to follow us on Twitter.
Yes, sir. Follow us on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. Obviously, down here, you guys have seen them for the whole show. Ezra, you got any other links you want to throw out there?
Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. Right here on YouTube. Idiot Ezra. That's it. Keep it real simple.
There you have it. That's all we got for you guys this week on the Red Zone Blitz. Catch us next week, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Again, Wednesday night, Red Zone Blitz. Tune in. We're out.
Later.